Morning, Willie.
The Glasgow Chamber of Commerce update with Chief Executive Stuart Patrick on the Go Radio Business Show.
Well, welcome back to our old friend, or not so old friend of the station, Stuart Patrick. Good morning.
Good morning.
Looking forward to the good news again.
Thank you very much. Well, I spent last week in South Korea working on an initiative promoted by a UK government agency to bring UK and South Korean cities into economic partnership. 4 UK cities have been matched with 4 South Korean cities. The idea is not a traditional twinning where cultural links tend to be more significant than economic. And of course, there's nothing wrong with expanding cultural ties at all. But for the Chamber, an explicit focus on forging economic relationships, which could grow trading links, investment and the sharing of talent, is especially attractive. Glasgow has been matched with the city of Daegu, South Korea's third largest city after Seoul and Busan, and with a population of some 2.5 million. A manufacturing city concentrated in textiles, metals and machinery, it also happens to be the founding home of Samsung.
Wow.
Spending time with overseas counterparts always involves seeing yourself as others see you. And South Korea has a special resonance since, along with Japan, starting in the 1950s, they developed shipbuilding centres that sounded the death knell for almost all civil shipbuilding on the Clyde. But now they too are facing the same challenges from China.
Wow.
The interest they showed in the transition Glasgow has made into a service sector economy with investments like the International Financial Services District, the role of our universities in supporting emerging technology industries in the engineering and life sciences, and our ability to attract and retain talent both through international students and by retaining our own young people, all reinforce messages that we've been nurturing in our Glasgow business story. Shipbuilding still does remain an important part of Glasgow's story, and this month saw the planning permission granted for BAE Systems to build their £100 million shipbuilding hall over the existing wet basin at Govan. Together with a £15 million investment in an applied shipbuilding academy at Scotstoun to support the long-term development of the workforce, the new hall represents a vote of confidence in Clyde Shipbuilding and will improve the yard's productivity as they continue the work on the MOD programme for 8 Type 26 frigates that will keep the workforce busy into the next decade. The importance of Glasgow's emerging industries in engineering and life sciences has been attracting senior attention. Former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, speaking at a recent Chamber event, recognised the potential of the city's work in the life sciences and especially in precision medicine, which uses genetic profiling to customise treatments and improve patient outcomes. He described Glasgow as having all the ingredients to become one of the UK's economic superpowers. Precision medicine is one sector that features in the project submitted for funding under the UK Government's Innovation Accelerator Partnership Programme. That programme has designated Glasgow, along with Greater Manchester and the West Midlands, as the 3 cities outside London best placed to turn academic research into commercial products and services. While we await final confirmation of the projects that will receive a share of the 33 million allocated to Glasgow, both George Freeman, Minister of State in the newly formed Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, and Professor Dame Ottiline Laser, Chief Executive of UK Research and Innovation, have been in town meeting with the universities, business and city council officials involved in making Glasgow's Innovation Accelerator Partnership work. That work is showing the scale of private investment that could be released in commercialising research in engineering, technologies and life sciences. The pipeline of projects is so strong that we will be lobbying for a second round of funding as soon as the first one is fully confirmed and announced. The Chamber's also been engaging with the most senior levels of the Scottish Government, including a member session with Deputy First Minister John Swinney. The recent decision on free ports, where the Clyde bid narrowly lost out to the bids from Edinburgh and from Ross and Cromarty, was a hot topic, as was the Scottish Government's current consultation on banning alcohol advertising. That meeting preceded the resignation of First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, and so we now await the result of the election of the next First Minister. Perhaps this will be an opportunity to reset relationships with the business community, and by far the most important first step would be to review the many policies that have set business nerves on edge. Ditching the proposed ban on alcohol advertising, delaying and reviewing the much criticised deposit return scheme, and dropping the imposition of residential rent controls would be a good start. Other news includes the return to Glasgow Airport of the Emirates A380 on the 26th of March, increasing flight capacity to our Middle East and Asian markets, and the launch this week of the tickets for the UCI World Cycling Championships in August. Head to cyclingworldchamps.com to grab your seats.
On your bike, Stuart.
Stuart, that sounds like
That's busy.
that sounds like you had a meeting with John Swinney. You told him that all his policies were rubbish, and the First Minister resigned. What a bit of work!
And you were sent
What a
to
bit of
South
work.
Korea.
Well, he was a very, very accommodating fellow, I have to say. He listened very hard to all that was being said. And
What did he say? I'm going to sack the boss. You're right.
would that we had such influence. You never know.
So on the South Korea visit, and obviously I read this week as well, fantastic that I believe that BAE's systems their order book is bulging, which is fantastic, and that investment in technology and in apprenticeships. And again, we keep mentioning that about people with big ideas and a passion. There is no doubt, God rest him, our old friend Vic Emery played a major part in saving that yard, putting it where it is today, and it's a great example of getting the right leader with a passion to make something work.
Well, of course, I couldn't agree more. What Vic did to turn around the Type 45 programme at that time and put it back onto a profitable track for BAE undoubtedly was an important step in keeping both Clyde and Scotston alive for us.
And on good ideas. Exclusive, both myself and Stuart made sure that the government knew about Vic when we had the whole problem with Ferguson Marine right at the start.
Right.
And we recommended them. I certainly recommended them, and I'm sure it would have backed up. That, look, if you need someone, here is a guy who you need to do this. And unfortunately decided to bring someone else in at £2 million a year or whatever, right? And it didn't work. But that is a great example, right, of what we've been portraying on the show for weeks and weeks and weeks.
So it's not all bad news in the Clyde, Stuart.
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And there's more to come, I think, in terms of the collaboration between all the various businesses that are still in ship repair and shipbuilding on the Clyde, including Ferguson's, I have to say, particularly around sharing skills and managing the infrastructure on the Clyde to improve mutually, to improve their productivity. So that's still to come. I think there's more work there.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned earlier, about unfortunately, we've read this week that because the accounts have not been filed for Ferguson Marine, it may go into administration. So maybe we might be talking in the next few weeks about how BAE see their expansion by taking over Ferguson Marine.
Stranger things have happened.
You heard it here first. Stuart, the city, we've talked about some of the things in the past, is are we coming back to life? Is COVID gone? How's the retailers doing?
That's still a tough gig, I have to say. We're still operating around about the 80 to 85% footfall in the city centre, and undoubtedly the issue is working from home. There's no question that Glasgow is still lagging behind in UK averages, and UK averages lag behind world averages by some margin. So we are a bit of an outlier when it comes to returning to the office, and we've actually we've started a bit of work under the City Centre Task Force to understand why. What is it about Glasgow that is making it different? It's not about public sector per se, because we don't have any more or less. We're kind of average in terms of public sector jobs. It's difficult to understand why the private sector haven't come back.
Stuart, it's not difficult to understand when the First Minister tells you it's good to work from home.
Well, she may be doing some
do people listen to the First Minister?
Well, I can tell you that my HR people tell me it's often quoted back to them when we try to get people to come back to work. I'm just saying, Nicola, I'm just saying.
Coming next, Hunter and Hockey chat to Alan Mack.